Hello and welcome to another Capture the Flag edition of Daryl Show Your Work, episode 168 to be exact. All right, so as a reminder, please take advantage of the limited time savings that INE is running on its award-winning cybersecurity training and certification programs all March long. Go to get.ine.com/Daryl and apply any of the promo codes in the show notes below to save up to 50% on its catalog of 70 plus hands-on learning paths and 300, well, actually 3,500 hours of content. Don't wait. Gain the cybersecurity skills that are in demand now, and make yourself job ready for employers out here looking for candidates. All right. So in today's episode, as promised, we're going to be looking at some of the vulnerabilities that was found in my previous episode with the WP scan, and looking to see how we're going to exploit those. So what I like to do though before jumping into that is doing the same type of this a similar type of enumeration and finding the vulnerabilities, but this time I want to not only enumerate the vulnerabilities but exploit the vulnerabilities using the Burp Suite tool. All right, so the Burp Suite tool is usually used by web penetration testing to intercept traffic and to manipulate that traffic to to exploit vulnerabilities found within the HTTP request or on the site that are found during assessments. Okay, so before I get started, since I am doing red teaming activity, I want to preface this video by saying that this is for research, ethical, and educational purposes only. Any sort of malicious behavior that may directly, indirectly come from someone watching this video, I do not take responsibility for, nor do I condone. All right, so to get started here, we're going to go through the same methodology as before, starting with discovery and then jumping in to our enumeration. All right, so let's see what my IP address is here. So I'm gonna say ifconfig. Let's see what's going on here. There we go. All right. So since I am operating off of network interface Ethernet 1, my IP address is 192.143.151.2. All right, so let me copy that. All right, next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to conduct a ping sweep of my local network. It's going to, and whoever's up and running, what other machines are up on my network that are up and running, they're going to respond back. And I'm going to choose a target host based on that. So I'm going to use fping to do this. So I'm going to say fping. All right. And as some of you who's been watching for a while, sometimes my keyboard has a mind of its own. So excuse that, -A-G. All right, so let's paste the IP address in there. All right, and I'm going to change that to a 0/24. All right, and that changes that to the CIDR address. And again, this is providing the range. This is telling fping the range of network devices to send the ICMP ping packets to. And again, who's ever within this network range is going to respond back, and that's how I'm going to choose my target host. All right, so as usual, dot one, dot two, and dot three are up. Dot one being the gateway, I want to maintain my internet access, so I'm not going to mess with that. Dot two being myself, so dot three is the target host. All right, so next I'm gonna run a quick nmap scan on run a service scan here um, on that IP address to see what ports are open, and this shouldn't take very long. All right. And we can see that port 80 is open and it's using Apache, an Apache web server, and looks like it's running an Ubuntu operating system, and the Apache version appears to be 2.4.18. All right, so let's take a visit there. All right, so change this 2 to a 3. All right, and it's the same WordPress site as in my previous video. So since that's the same, let's see if the that administrator admin page, excuse me, that WordPress admin page is still the same. And it is. All right. So, all right. From here, what I like to do is test out the capturing of the HTTP request here. I'm going to use Burpsuite to make sure that I'm able to capture and intercept the get request HTTP get and post requests from this browser inside of Burpsuite. And also, in order to do that, I first need to configure my FoxyProxy web extension here, and this is essentially what connects my web browser here to the Burpsuite application, also to if I was using OWASP Zap, but in this case I'm just using Burpsuite. All right, so this is what allows the browser and the Burpsuite application to talk to each other, and for Burpsuite to capture traffic coming specifically from this browser. All right, so now that I've turned that on, let's open Burpsuite. So I'm going to go down here to the little dragon icon on Kali. I'm going to go to 3 web application analysis, and then I'm going to open Burpsuite. All right, so I'm going to leave temporary project highlighted there, clicking next, and then we're going to use the Burp defaults, and let's start up Burp. All right. So no, I'm not going to update that right now. All right. So in the proxy tab here, I need to make sure that the interceptor is on. And intercept is basically the mechanism that's going to be capturing those HTTP method requests. So it could be post, get, any sort of HTTP method request. As long as this interceptor is on, it's going to capture that. All right. So it's on. All right. So I'm going to enter in just some test credentials here. All right, and then what I want to do is test this out, and if it's successful, I want to then be able to run a dictionary test, a dictionary attack from Burp Suite. All right, so last time in my previous video, remember me using the WP scan tool to brute force the admin accounts password. So now I'm going to use Burp Suite to do that, and I'm going to show how we could do that. All right. So first, I'm just going to enter in I'm going to just enter a password that says password. All right. And let's see if it captures that traffic. All right. And it looks like it may have not. Okay. Let's see. All right. Let's turn it off, turn it back on, and let's try that again. Make sure that's on. Okay. It says it's on. All right. Let me make sure yep, that's on. All right. There we go. All right. So this is the HTTP post request here that was captured with my attempt of trying to authenticate. So if we look at this last line here, we can see that the username that I enter in, admin, and the password that I enter in is password. All right. So that's what a captured HTTP request looks like here within Burpsuite. All right. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to send this. I'm gonna click the action button, and I want to send this to the intruder. All right. So within intruder here, all right, we see that my IP address and the port is already pre-rendered here for me, which is great. All right. And so from here, this is where I want to start performing my dictionary attack. So I'm going to move where you can see right now we're in the target tab. So I want to move over to the positions tab. All right, so we can see that different variables within the captured requests are highlighted here. All right, so I want to clear that, and there's only one variable here that I want to alter. All right, with the for the dictionary attack. So I'm gonna click this clear button here, and that's gonna clear every place where we see this little S looking symbol next to the those variables. So let's clear that out. All right, so we can see that all disappeared, and I'm going to highlight password here, and then I'm gonna click add. So now it Burp Suite knows to only target this specific variable within the this post request. All right, and this is what's going to be used. This one I'm going to perform the dictionary attack, and it's only going to target that particular variable within the get request. All right, so next, I'm going to move over to the payloads tab. All right, so we have a simple list already selected for us, and we only want the one payload set. All right, so I'm going to actually load a word list here that I already have on my system. All right, so let's go to desk root. Let's go to desktops, word list. All right, and like last time, the word list that I'm going to use for this is the 100 common passwords text file. All right, so we can see that now once I've chosen that, we can see the contents of that file. So these are just an example of some of the passwords that Burp Suite is going to be used to try to um, the password and cracking the password for the admin account. All right, so just checking everything here, and I should be good to go as far as starting this attack. So I'm going to click the start attack button, and let's get started. All right, now that that's finished, all right, looks like we have a bunch of different 200 successful return codes here. All right, so but we only know that only one username and password combination can work. So I'm going to sort these by status here by going to status and clicking that. All right, so we could see that actually the password Lawrence that was used that actually has a different return code and length from the others. All right, and it also has a 302 status code, which is indicative of a redirect, which is a good sign because that means it probably has redirected us to the actual admin panel behind the login screen. But I'm gonna click on this and let's investigate this a little further. All right, so looking at this. All right, scrolling down a bit. Let's see. Okay, hold on. I actually want to go to the response tab here. All right, so looking at the response tab here, so the cookie for the admin user is set in response, and there's a 302 redirect, like I just said, to the dash admin directory. Then let me see, let me see if I can point this out right here. All right, so location. All right, so we can see that it is the redirect there. All right, so this is the implication that the Lawrence password is the actual correct password for the admin account. All right, so let's test this out though. All right, so I can just exit out of here. All right, and then I can make sure. Okay, good. Let's exit out of here too. All right, we're gonna discard that. We're not gonna save that attack. All right, and so within proxy, I want to make sure that interceptor is off, and this is going to pass the wrong password here. So we're going to get an error message here, which is fine. All right, so let's try Lawrence and let's see if that works. And voila, that worked. So those who may have watched my previous episode probably already knew that Lawrence was the password, but I just wanted to show another way in which we could gain the credentials for this admin account, other than doing the similar brute force using the WP scan command line tool. All right, so now that I'm in here, all right, now ultimately remember that this is a capture the flag episode here. So we need a way in to the back end host of this WordPress site. All right. So we want to be able to find some vulnerability. So we exploited the one vulnerability here as far as being able to get onto the into the admin panel here via the weak password. All right. So now let's see if we could find anything else that may be vulnerable. So I'm gonna go to plugins here because remember in the last video I told you there's several things that can be vulnerable when it comes to content management systems and specifically WordPress, and which is the core CMS system in itself, plugins, and also themes. All right, so I'm going to look here in the plugin here, and I'm going to go to install plugins. All right, so we can see that there's actually only one plugin in use, and that's the WordPress or responsive thumbnail slider. And we can see that it is actually on version 1. So um, if I was a gambling man, I would wager that there's probably higher versions of this particular plugin, and that this is out of date. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually search through the search exploit database to be able to see if there's any known exploitation files that may exploit any known vulnerabilities here. All right. So in order to do that, I'm going to go back to the terminal here and I'm going to say search exploit. All right. And I'm going to say, I'm going to enter in what it is I'm looking for. So WordPress. And we can see that again, my keyboard is doing its own thing. All right. So responsive thumbnail. And then I think that was slider. And then we want version 1.0. All right. So just check in my syntax here. All right, so let's see what we can find within the search exploit. All right, looks like we actually found it, got a hit here, which is an arbitrary file upload exploitation. All right, so those who may not know, search exploit uses to exploit database to exploit DB as a source. So I'm going to look in my local exploit DB directory, which is should be in most Kali distributions, to see if I can find the file that's mentioned here and see what it is that we can learn about this specific exploit and how it works. So let's say cat. And then that's going to be in user share exploit. There we go. Exploit DB. All right. Then we want to go into the exploits folder. All right. And then I'm going to follow this path that's right here. So I'm going to say PHP web apps 37998.txt. All right, so just checking my syntax here. All right, let's see what we can find. Bam, all right, there it is. Okay, so if we take a look at the description here, so based on what the description is saying, we can see that a version 1.0 of the plugin suffers from a file upload vulnerability, which allows attackers to upload shell scripts as image files. So looking down here a bit more, All right. We can actually see that this is actually giving me instructions on how to use the exploit, how to exploit this vulnerability. All right. So um, let's go back to the browser here and let's see if we can put this into good use. All right. So knowing what we know now, I'm going to go down here to responsive nail slider and choose manage images. All right. And so this is where I would go to upload an image. So what I want to do is I want to create an actual PHP shell script, since I know PHP is the web language used on this server. So I want to create a PHP shell script that's going to that I can execute here on this server, which would allow for me to run my own commands. All right. So in order to do that, I'm going to say nano and that's using my Word, my text editor here. And then I want to name this file shell.php. But remember, it's only going to accept image files. So I'm going to add a JPEG extension to this. All right, hitting enter. All right, now this is where I put the actual payload. All right, so give me a moment as I type this out. This is going to be a PHP based payload again, because we know that is the web language that is executing on the target host. All right. Do we want to have to get request? And then we want to be able to use the command, right? Okay. So just checking my syntax here. All right. So what this is going to do again, this is going to run a PHP shell script that's going to enable me from remotely from my machine to be able to run um, shell commands on the target host. All right, and we're going to see where exactly how I'm going to execute that. But it's going to allow me to run commands from the target host um, um, or remotely. All right, so I'm gonna hit Control X to exit and then Y to save. All right. Now going back to the browser here. All right. I'm going to go to add new. All right. So let's go to browse and I want to go back to my home directory here. All right. So we can see that shell.php.jpg file. So I'm going to choose that. Now before I click Save Changes, there's something that I need to do in order for this file to actually be usable, and we're going to see what that is. So I'm going to actually go back into Burp Suite. All right, I'm going to turn the interceptor on, and oops, didn't mean to do that. Well, actually, yeah, I did. Now I'm going to hit Save Changes so it can intercept the traffic of me trying to upload this file. All right. There. Shell.php.jpg, and we can also see the contents of that file, which is the PHP payload. All right, so I actually this time I'm going to action, and I want to send this to the repeater. And what the repeater is going to do is going to allow me to modify this this request. All right, and then send it again with the modification. All right, so now that I'm in a repeater, I'm going to scroll down. All right, so right here where we see that file name, I'm going to change the file name now. So no longer am I going to be uploading it as a JPEG file, but now removing the JPEG, now it's going to upload as a PHP file. And this is where we are we are exploiting the vulnerability of this version dot 1.0 version of this thumbnail slider plugin. All right, and we can see here that it still lists as content. Content type is image that slash JPEG. So apparently, when I pass this request, it's going to still look at this as an image file, even though it's a PHP file, and it's going to execute as one again because that's the language that's executed on our target host. So I'm going to send this, and let's verify some things. All right, and so I got a 200 return code. So that lets me know that that indeed works as far as uploading. So then I'm going to turn off the interceptor here, and that should successfully pass along the altered request here. All right, so let's turn the interceptor off. All right, and we can see new image was added successfully. All right, so when looking down here, it's hard to tell, you know, there's two images here. It's hard to tell which one is the one that I just sent, but fortunately, I know that the order that it's listed in is from newest to oldest. So the one here at the top should actually be the newest image that was just sent. So I'm gonna click on edit here, and we could verify that. All right, actually, no, I was wrong. All right, so let's go back. So maybe it's the second one. Okay, so apparently it's the reverse. So we can see how the previous one had the .jpeg, but this one has the .php. All right, so I'm gonna click on this. All right, so let's expand this window. So nothing is here right now. Okay, so oops, no, let's go here. Okay, all right. So now in order for me, if I wanted to exploit this vulnerability, what I need to do now is add, let's see, question mark CMD, and then let's say the command I want to run was the user ID. Let's say I want to know what user ID I am right now. So I'm gonna say CMD question mark CMD equals ID. And look at there. All right, we can see that my user ID is 33, and I'm actually using the www-data service account. All right. So also, if I wanted to see what my current working directory is on the back end, so I would just replace the ID with pwd, the same thing we would use if we were on the actual command line. All right, and we can see that that is telling me that on the back end that I am actually in this directory right here, which is an internal directory. All right, so we can see that here from the URL bar, I'm actually able to remotely execute commands. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to be able to see if I can now if I can now run a reverse shell from here, and what that's going to allow me to do is now to remotely be able to enter into the command line from my desktop and to the internal machine here. All right, so in order to do so, all right, I need to go back to Burp Suite. Let's see, where are you? Okay. All right, so now in Burp Suite, all right, I'm going to actually create the payload here, and this time I need to go into the decoder. All right, so here within the decoder, I'm going to enter in the following command here, and this is going to create the reverse shell script payload that I'm going to then encode and then run to see if that would get me in a reverse shells. So I'm going to say slash, excuse me, bin bash. So this is going to be a bash script. So basically, I'm gonna try to get a bash shell here. All right, and then dash C bash. Oops, not that. TCP. All right, now I need to give it my IP address, so it knows what. So basically, I'm going to tell it to connect my IP address, to this target host. So let's go back here to my initial discovery, and I could just copy the target host address because it's really the first three octets are the same, and I just need to modify the fourth. Let's scroll back down. Okay. All right. So bring back up Burp Suite, and let's copy that here. Well, see. There we go. Okay, and we changed that 3 to a 2, so making sure we connected it to my machine. All right, and then let's finish this up. I want to connect to port 54321. That should be open and available for me. All right, then let's finish this up. All right, so just checking my syntax here. Bash. All right. So next thing that I need to do is I'm gonna go to encode as, and I'm going to choose URL since that is where I am executing the commands from. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, and remember how I was entering like ID, PWD from on the command line. This is now what I'm going to paste after question mark CMD equals. All right, and this basically is a URL encoded version of this payload. All right, so in order though for me to be able to connect to that, to connect to the machine, I'm going to have to set up a listener here to be able to be able to establish the connection. So those who've been watching for a while should have an idea of what application I'm going to use now, which is Netcat. All right, which is the Swiss Army knife. All right, of cybersecurity technicians. All right, so I'm gonna say NC lowercase nc dash L for listening mode, V for verbose output, and then P for port. And then I want it to listen on port, the same port that I specified in the payload, which is port 54321. All right, now going back into the browser. All right, now let's try to execute that from here. So I'm going to get rid of PW. Nope. Let me see. Let's try to. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Hold on. I think I just screwed up. Okay, there we go. I think sorry about that. This is what I need to, there we go. Okay, and let me make sure that, I don't think I turned the interceptor back on. No, that's still off. Okay, good. Okay, so here is where I need to enter that in. All right, and let's paste. There we go. So that's our encoded payload. So let's run that and let's see what happens. All right, so nothing appears to happen here, but let's check the command line. All right, and then bam, it looks like I have my bash shell. All right, so let's try to run a couple commands here just to verify. So I'm gonna say ID. All right, so we can see just like when I ran it from the URL on the WordPress admin panel. All right, we can see that I get the UID of 33 again, and I'm the www.data service account. So if I type in PWD, all right, we can see that I'm in the same directory that was referenced before, the directory where this plugin is housed. And this time, if I say list, if I want to see what's actually in the local directory that I'm in, we can now see that same PHP file that I uploaded, as well as the other JP file, JPEG file that was there. All right. So now that I'm in, all right, now it's time to search for the flag. All right. So I'm going to run the following command, basically to try to find any file within this machine that has the term flag in it. All right, so I'm gonna say I name as in name. All right, and then I'm gonna say flag. All right, and then let's say two slash dev. No, all right, and that should give me a list here. All right, so let's scroll through here a bit and let's see what's going on. Let's see. Okay, right here. All right, this looks promising. All right, so let's copy that and let's cat that out and let's see what we get. All right, and bam, there's the contents of our flag. All right. So again, like I always said, flag is just representative of any sort of sensitive information as that me as an attacker that I can gain access to, that those who are administrating this network or who this machine belongs to would not want me to see. So I could have done the same find query for SSN numbers or employee ID, or I could insert any term other than flag there to that would indicate something, a file name that would have have sensitive information within its naming convention. All right. So um, so to summarize what was done here, I showed after doing my initial discovery and finding that we were using the same word press site that was used in the previous video. I then showed how we can capture that web traffic, those HTTP requests, and then use the information in them in that to target a specific variable, in this case the password variable, when I tried to authenticate, and then use a word list from my end, and you did this with the intruder tab and feature within Burp Suite, and conducted a dictionary attack there, which narrowed it down to the password Lawrence, and I was able to deduce that by looking at the cookies that was within that password and the status the status the return code that showed that it was a redirect, and when looking further into that, showed me that it indeed redirect to the WHP admin. So tried that credential, worked. Once we got in there, went to the plugins, seeing that the one plugin that was there was running on version 1.0. Searched for that specific plugin within the search exploit, found that it indeed did have a vulnerability to to uploading shell scripts, and it had an associated text file, basically disclosing the vulnerability and instructing on how to exploit it. So went back to the admin panel, um, and then once in there, went created went back to Burp exploit, created a payload that base. I'm sorry, not Burp. Excuse me. Went back to my terminal, created a PHP payload, which I could then upload as a JPEG file, but captured that traffic again using Burp Suite, and then within Burp Suite, while the file was en route, was able to take the JPEG. JPEG extension off that I added when creating it. So then it just became a PHP file. Passed that traffic along. Once there, went to the clicked on that PHP file that I found once uploaded, and from the command, excuse me, from the URL, I was able to see that I could run commands using question mark commands equals, and enter in any pretty much any Linux command that I wanted. And again, knew I could run Linux commands because during the initial enumeration with nmap, was able to know that Ubuntu was being used on the back end. All right, so once I was able to see that I could run those commands, now I wanted to see if I could run the reverse shell. So going back into Burp Suite, going to the decoder, I created a bash script payload to be, and then encoded that using URL encoding. Set up a netcat listener within my terminal to be able to catch the connection, and went back to the admin panel, and then use the same command prompt methodology that I used to run the other commands. Pasted that encoded payload, and then once I executed it, got this got this connection here to the backend a web server. Ran some commands to test out my connection, and then I was able to run a few more commands to find our flag. All right, so that brings me to the end of my video here. As a reminder, please take advantage of the limited time opportunities to save with our INE certification training. That's not just for their own certifications, but they also have several learning paths to other industry certifications, such as CompTIA, Cisco, AWS, so on and so on. So it's great to be able to look into those, and they will be helpful as far as developing skills in you, high in demand skills, as they did with me. All right, so make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Most importantly, show your work. And until next time, take care of yourself, and God bless.